ghosting, catfishing, endless swiping that leads to constant burnout. If you have dipped your feet into the online dating, you probably have heard all these terms. We live in an age of digital era and relationships today are very hard to find. Welcome to the Business Lens, the podcast series by ESEL from Department of Business Economics, sponsored by Bliss by Anju. I am Annie and joined by Saurabh. We are your host today. We are dissecting this very problem today. So here we have a founder who is having a culture shifting solution to it, Julio.
Our guest, Varun Sud, sir, the founder and CEO of JULEO, with a background forged in the halls of IIT and Wharton, and at the helms of corporate giants like Zomato and Google. Varun sir is now tackling one of the largest unsolved problems of our generation, making matchmaking safe, efficient, and built on trust. Sir, it is a pleasure to have you on this podcast.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. Very excited to chat with you all.
Let's talk about the challenges that young people face today in the dating and relationships. Research shows that a significant proportion of Gen Zs prioritize authenticity and trust over casual swiping. Many are looking for meaningful connections rather than just the matches. Seeing this shift, what inspired you to create JULEO and build an experience that is centered to safety?
Sure. Thanks for asking that question. So it starts with a personal story. So 15 years ago, when I was in the arranged marriage market, my wife was the 18th girl I met, was an unsuccessful user of some of the same matrimony apps that exist today that also existed back then. And I think the scars never healed. So, but jokes apart, I think since then the seed of the problem was planted. I asked myself, there are so many good guys out there, so many good girls out there, everything going for them. Why aren't they meeting? And cut to a couple of years ago, there ended up being some serendipitous conversations with younger siblings of friends, some of my cousins over in the 25 to 35 age group. And over the years, I had just assumed that so many new apps had come that this problem was probably solved. But speaking to these folks, one realized that for when people were actually looking for authentic relationships, there wasn't any trusted online channel. There wasn't a household brand. So if you search for information, there's Google. Then when you search for entertainment, there's Netflix. But when you're searching for love, there wasn't anything. And that's how the idea of JULEO was born.
Great, sir. So, Varun sir, you are building an interesting app. JULEO's description is very clear. It's not a dating app, not a matrimony app. You call it an exclusive singles club, trusted singles club. Can you unpack the idea behind that?
Absolutely.
And what was the fundamental gap you observed in the market that made you say neither of these existing apps are working?
Yeah. So, when we actually spoke to people across the length and breadth of the country, what we realized was, dating app fatigue was for real. So if you just go to Google and just type in dating app fatigue, articles from all over the world will hit you. So we realized it's not just an India problem, it's actually a global problem. And, these apps have impacted people's mental health. They have led to scams and safety issues. They're just inefficient at, just the quantity and quality of matches don't work for many people. So that was the starting point that, what exists today isn't working. From there, we said, okay, if the current online model is failing users, failing them spectacularly at scale, what's another model that works or can at least works better? And what was interesting was the traditional Indian human matchmaker came out as a winning model, right? And it was fascinating because what we saw was people were paying these human matchmakers tens of thousands to lakhs of rupees at the premium end of the spectrum. And for us, that was a strong signal that, something they were doing was working, because us Indians, irrespective of our affluence, don't pay that kind of money unless we see value. And what was also fascinating was that, if you studied the modus operandi, the UX of the traditional human matchmaker, it very elegantly solved all the pain points that users of the dating and matrimony apps told us they had. So whether it was fake, bad, unverified profiles, whether it was a problem of plenty and no curation, whether it was getting lost in chat and never actually meeting the person, or worst, as you called out, being ghosted and left without feedback, doubting, second guessing one's own self. All of those are very elegantly solved by the modus operandi of the human matchmaker. So really what we are trying to do is, essentially take what is, we believe, a safer, more responsible, more efficient way of getting people to meet. We are packaging it in a modern Gen Z friendly avatar, think yoga, Ayurveda, right? And we want to export it from India, build India first, but then export from India to the world. So that's what Julio is about. I think we were very clear, to answer the first part of your question, we were very clear that dating and matrimony apps weren't working, and hence it was not worth our time to build yet another one of those. I think what the Trusted Singles Club, right, the moniker comes from the fact that we wanted to, just like a Gymkhana club or a country club, right, create a community of members who were of your type and who you'd actually want to meet, and who you could trust. So essentially, that's how we are a Trusted Singles Club, and every member of Julio, every member of the Trusted Singles Club gets a personal matchmaking genie, like virtual, not human, who works with you to help you meet other Julio members.
True, sir, really true. Like, I am also looking forward to join that exclusive Trusted Singles Club, because taking an example, like the best example I could take is of mine only. I downloaded Hinge, installed it, but when you swipe into that thing, like left, right, sending likes, so you get a swipe burnout very quickly.
Absolutely, yes.
And being a boy, you don't get that turnout rate very quickly compared to a girl. So that is a really big problem, and maybe a lot of people got depressed because of that thing only.
Yes.
कि मैं तो किसी काबिल ही नहीं हूँ ऐसा.
Talking from a girl's perspective, what I think, girls face a decision fatigue. Now we have a lot of choices whom to choose, right? So
Yes.
that is where I believe the decision-making power is a bit lacking.
Yeah. No, you're spot on, right? As they say, both men and women are dying of thirst on the apps. Men because it's a desert, women because it's an ocean, water everywhere, not a drop to drink. So yes, that is the unfortunate reality of the apps, which we've set out to change and correct.
Okay, so sir, now I would love to know your views. Now, most of the platforms keep safety as a backup plan. But in Julio, what I saw that safety was given the utmost priority. And so what was your thinking behind designing an app like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we got YouGov to survey 1,000 singles across, the top 8 cities of India. And there were some fascinating insights that came out of it. One of the insights around safety was over 70% of women said, they find the apps unsafe. No surprises. We kind of expected that. But over 50% of men said that, right? And that sort of, maybe took us a little bit by surprise, because we realized that, people were scared, right, of even entering this category. There were so many great men and women out there who were eligible, keenly looking for someone, but they were forced to rely on friends and family and their limited networks because, they just didn't feel safe, coming online, right? And so many people mentioned, that, we've seen the scams that happen on, thanks to Crime Patrol and other, awareness that the media has, created, which is great. So essentially, that we realized is a big problem, right? And to unlock so our whole thesis is this is both an underpenetrated category user-wise, and of course an under-monetized category revenue-wise too. But really what we realized is that, to unlock and grow the category, to bring people who've never used a dating or matrimony app to try an online solution, our Trusted Singles Club, safety would, have to be at the core, which is why every Julio member is government ID verified and criminal record checked seamlessly with India Stack, and we're incredibly fortunate. We're living in a country where the government has built such incredible digital public infrastructure. It's a pity that, so many other companies were out there and not using it, and we have to, in some ways come in and show the way. But hey, we're here now, and we hope to set things right.
There should be someone to take charge of changing the culture or environment. So, sir, I want to ask your take on something that I have observed into corporate culture, like when I was working into corporates. So, what happens in in that environment, as people have been shifted completely towards digital, and physical reach has been reduced a lot, right? So, in office culture, people don't want to date their colleagues only. Like they don't want to be in a relationship with the person they share the same office with, or if they are having any sort of relationship, it is extramarital affair, which is like growing a lot in tier 2 or tier 3 cities. So what's your take on this?
Yeah. So look, I think you're right. Office romances were once maybe the biggest competitor for the apps. A lot of people have, I know in my own friends and family circles, met their better half at work. I think a couple of things have changed, right? I think one, in the aftermath of COVID, there is still a lot of hybrid or remote work happening. So I think people are spending, unfortunately, less time in office where some of these connections happened. The other piece, right? I'm, obviously a big supporter of the Me Too movement and all the good that came out of it.
Right.
But one unintended side effect of that is that perhaps, people are more wary of mixing, work and romance, lest, it be construed in a wrong way, even when they have noble intentions. So, and that's the irony, right? I think we are spending increasing amount of time at office, at work. And however, it's, for multiple reasons, it's harder to find someone there, which is why, people are looking outside. Look, as far as the extramarital affairs go, I think we are very clear that is not something, me as an individual or us as a company endorse. In fact, we ask you to state your relationship status on our app, and married isn't an option. So, so I think, I think it's perhaps arguably, unfortunate that there are a bunch of apps that have come in that are promoting that specific use case. I think we don't stand for it. We want to create meaningful relationships where people get along so well that they don't feel the need for an extramarital affair in the first place.
But Varun, as the hookup culture is concerned on other dating apps, and the narrative being said कि ऐसा ही होता है, ऐसा ही चलता है यहाँ पे तो how Julio is tackling that problem, how it is solving it?
Yeah. So look, when it comes to relationship goals, right? I think we're not judging hookups or casual dating. Maybe I am judging extramarital affairs. I think those aren't cool for multiple reasons. But I think the key thing here is there is a lot of diversity in how people think, in their life stage, in what they want, right? And we as Julio, we respect that. So one of the things we do is we ask you to choose your relationship goal, whether it is to marry, to date to marry, to exclusively date with emotional bonding, to casually date. And what we do is we make sure that the other Julio members you meet share that goal, right? So there is no mismatch in expectations, which is what is happening, on many of the other digital platforms out there.
Right.
So essentially, I think it comes down to what you want, and aligning with someone who has sort of the same expectations. That said, I think what we see is, yes, you're right. There is this narrative that the only way to a serious relationship is via casual, and the truth is that's not necessarily true, right? And I think partly that narrative has come because on these other apps, if you are looking for something serious, you run into a bunch of people who are looking for something casual,
Correct.
and hence you feel this is the only way. But it is not. And, hopefully with, our Julio members sort of have seen and recognized that, because there are enough people who, there are people who want to go that way, but there are enough people who don't, and they shouldn't be forced to, right? I think we stand for, free will and choice. So
We
that.
can relate with it, right? I mean,
Yes. Okay, so moving further now, I would like to state that like data shows that 80% of the matches that happens are never converted into an in-person meeting, right? So now the issues could be ghosting, profile mismatch, or just fear of getting scammed, as you mentioned earlier. So how Julio is like building that and like tackling that issue?
Yeah, you're spot on. In fact, the YouGov survey that we did with 1,000 single users of these apps in the top 8 cities had a very similar stat. So 2 out of 3, right, 2/3, not too far from the 80% number you quoted, of singles said they've never met anyone in person from these apps, right? It was, it's a stat that hit us hard, right? We knew this was a theme, when we had done qualitative interviews with people across the country, but, seeing this quantitative data really, hit us hard. So, and if you think about it, right, one of the things that the human traditional matchmaker does is they put a strong emphasis on you actually meeting people. Because if you think about it, right, when you chat, you're just, the only signal you have is words. On a phone call, you have audio as well, tone. Over a video call, you have expressions, and when you meet in person, there's body language. So I think what's happening on a lot of these apps is people are making bad decisions just with words, right, without understanding the tones, expressions, body language behind, right, and people are making suboptimal decisions, and that's why it's leading to fatigue, right? You are missing out on good people because you're not able to evaluate them holistically. You're falling for the bad people, going on bad dates, getting fatigued, right? So I think first things first, what we do at Julio is we, the moment a guy and a girl, express an interest in each other, yes, we, do connect you over a text conversation, but just like a human matchmaker, your personal matchmaking genie nudges you to, upgrade to an audio call, a video call, as per your comfort and convenience. And, and even nudges you to meet in person. We also have, group events where you can register and, meet people in real life if that's what you prefer. So I think the way we are solving this is just, encouraging people to, upgrade from chat. And as they say, right, chat is where relationships go to die. So that's a slow sort of nudge process that we are doing to help users make better decisions.
Right. So very on the point. I would like to understand some technical aspect of this matchmaking from Julio's perspective or from your perspective. Like, how do you weigh or integrate these various identity verification or behavioral engagement and compliance matrices that arrive at Julio and compile it into a single trust score to match it with the person? Like, do you use AI or machine learning models, or how do you do it?
Yeah. So we use a bunch of different technology, including AI, in our overall matchmaking algorithm. We have multiple variables. Trust score is one of them. But the way the trust score works, really, right? In some ways, the way to think about this, right, is if you think of a Gymkhana club, every Gymkhana club has a code of conduct, right? Similarly, Julio has a code of conduct as well. And the trust score is just a means of seeing, how well you're following the code of conduct. If you follow it well, users get a trustworthy badge on their profile, right, which other members can see and get additional comfort. Of course, everyone is already government ID verified and criminal record checked, right? That's basic. If you don't pass that, you don't even get into the club, right? So I think that's hygiene. But over and above that, by following the club code of conduct, you can win a trustworthy badge. At the other end of the spectrum, so think of Uber driver style feedback. So after every conversation, you have the opportunity to fill, very simple 15 seconds drop down canned responses, feedback on the other person, right? And that's how we ensure, the sort of integrity of the club, remains, that we maintain, a culture of respect, a culture of trust. And essentially, if you repeatedly violate the code of conduct, over time, the quality and quantity of matches goes down, and potentially to zero at some point.
Okay, now I want to talk about your LinkedIn. We saw a really interesting post. So one of the posts that states that like 25% of your users have never been on any online dating or matrimony app, and 70% of the users right now are not on any dating or matrimony app parallelly.
That's right.
Yes. So, was this the plan all along, like bringing people who have never experienced online dating?
Absolutely. So I think, look, the reason we are here, if you look at the current size of the online dating and matrimony market, right? It's online, right? Is not very big. Online and offline put together is big, right? And meaningful. So I think the reason we're here is because we believe there is a meaningful shift that will happen from offline to online. There is a meaningful shift that will happen where people who weren't using any channel and just relying on friends and family, will move online, and the way to facilitate that is just trust and safety, right? So which is what we're obsessed about and we've doubled down on. And so yes, I think this is the plan, to help people who have not been able to sort of build trust with current platforms, and we're on track.
So AI has a lot of influence on online dating as well. AI can predict compatibility, but human relations are still organic. So how does Julio is balancing between AI compatibility and human connection?
Yeah, no, that's a very appropriate question. Unfortunately, I think there are a whole bunch of AI boyfriends and girlfriends, that are propagating around the world. I think there is increasing research to show that, it's not mentally healthy. These are, we're heading towards dystopia. So I think we're very clear that Julio is about getting real people to meet in the real world. And we're using AI to enable that, right? So AI is an enabler. It's a means to the end. Ultimately, you have to meet someone and figure out if, deeper things like values align. So our take is AI is very much an enabler. What AI can do is it can, in an ocean of, people, right? AI can help narrow the set to people who you would at least maybe enjoy meeting if you maybe didn't get, even if you don't get into a relationship with them eventually, or are broadly at least your type, even if you don't enjoy the meeting, that you feel that at least it was time not wasted. So I think that's the extent to which AI plays a role. It's not a magic wand. Ultimately, people have to. It's about human connection.
So how will you encourage Gen Zs or the next upcoming generation who are used to sending likes or swiping left and right to join Julio's this verified or exclusive trusted club? And what are the actual features that can keep them engaged without using the swipe mechanism?
Yeah. So I think, look, the good news is I think people are so pained by swipes that, they are very happy to give us a try, right? I don't think we have to tell them, why swiping isn't working or, not good for them. I think they figured it out, unfortunately, the hard way. So at Julio, I think, one of the things we're very focused on is mental health. So we've designed the app in consultation with psychiatrists, psychologists, to make sure, we don't go down the same rabbit hole that, others before us have. And the way we manage this is, Julio is a less is more paradigm, right? So we focus on quality over quantity. And you see, just like, when you'd work with a human matchmaker, you see a limited number of matches at a time. You can be in a limited number of conversations at a time. And that's, basically we are trying to, move the paradigm from, thoughtless elimination, right? Which is what swiping is, right? Like if, if I was sort of, your, friend of yours, I'd probably be sitting here talking to you and, just like right swiping, right?
Right.
So I think, which is basically thoughtless elimination. So we want to change the paradigm to thoughtful selection, so less is more paradigm, and make sure things are mindful, right, and as authentic and mindful and meaningful as they can be.
Also, I think likewise Instagram swiping left and right is also very addictive, and like you get involved in that getting dopamine from it.
Oh yes, my wife is sort of hates my doom scrolling at night, so I know what you mean. So it's I think important to build these kind of products responsibly, because there is a larger sort of social impact on a lot of people's mental health. So we take that responsibility very, very seriously.
Okay, so let's talk about life and blood of any business, that is capital and people.
Mm-hmm.
Investors generally go for viral hooks, gamified version, and growth.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you convince investors to invest in a trust-based app? That is all.
No, I think it's an interesting question. So I think it's not an or, right? It's and. I think the reality is that you have to really understand what customers want and build for them. You may not get it right the first time, we didn't, and then you have to quickly listen to feedback and iterate, which we've done. And I think the virality, right, the word of mouth, etc., comes when the product is working for people, when people are enjoying using the product. So I think virality in many ways is an output of solving a painful user problem and solving it really well. And I think in this category, right, I think the great thing about this category is we've met, had the privilege of meeting the founders of some of the largest global apps in this space, and for many of them, 80% of their global user acquisition is organic, right? Only 20% is paid, which is fascinating, right? I've not seen this in any other category I've worked in. And if you think about it, right, not surprising when two single friends meet, probably the first thing you all talk about is, your love life. So, there is a natural word of mouth and virality built into this category. So, unlike many other places where maybe there isn't this natural virality and products, have to sort of try extra hard to bring it in. I think, we just enjoy the fact that, we are part of potentially the biggest, the most difficult decision people will make in their lives of finding a partner. And because, we are part of that journey, there is, I think the benefit of that is, some of this natural word of mouth virality that happens. I mean, that's not just us, right? It's any player in this category who is doing a reasonable job, would get that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Very true, Varun. So I come from a B2B investment background, and I had a startup which was based on education, tech startup. It failed really badly because of funding round. So going back to your seed funding round, right? Could you walk us through that scenario or those those set of emotions that you have gone through in that period of time, and from identifying the right people to sort of getting the funding for the seed round? I saw your post of getting the first round funding. It was from a large group of people, right?
Yes.
Right. So how many investors ended up in investing Julio, and what was the pool?
Sure. So by the way, congratulations on having started up, right? And I think every failure is a stepping stone to success. So
right.
I think the experience sort of makes you stronger, and I think will come in handy whenever you do next. So for 8 years to you starting up soon again. Look forward to
looking forward to it.
Yeah, look forward to hearing more about that. So I think our fundraising journey. So I think first things first, just super duper tremendously grateful to friends and family. So we've raised an angel round, right? That's right now, that's where we are. And just, immense gratitude to all the people who have come and backed us. So we're super lucky, super privileged to have 180 angels who have come together and backed us. And I think the process, for us, I think that my realization was that, if I wanted to, let's say, raise $1 million, I probably didn't know 10 people who would cut me a 100K check, right? Or at least not very easily. But I knew that, there are probably 100 people, who know me, who perhaps worked with me, gone to college, school with me, who trust me. and what I'm doing, and would maybe cut me a 10K check, right? So I think that was the philosophy with which we approached our angel raise,
Right.
and just like super duper grateful that we've with the money the angels gave us, we've been able to sort of build a global world class product, create employment and super challenging interesting jobs for our team, and orchestrated real marriages and relationships across the country. So very, very, very grateful.
And you recently raised one more round of funding, right? With really high profile people.
So we've actually raised we raised our angel round in 2 tranches, right? So I think probably you're referring to multiple tranches, and I think we're just again I am super lucky. I would say that a lot of people I went to college with or worked with, many of them are doing really well, either in the world of startups, the world of finance, the world of tech, right? And those are the folks who have come and backed me. So it's very, very lucky to have friends doing so well.
So mainly networking is the game.
So look, again, it's how you define networking, right? I think these are relationships I've built over the years. I never saw it as networking. I think the way I sort of, I mean, I'm not a particular fan of the word networking, right? It feels very forced and not organic. I think the way I have approached life in general is just to organically connect, be curious, try to be helpful, and just connect with as many people I can wherever I go, and that's how I've sort of approached this.
Really good thoughts, sir.
Okay, so now let's talk about a little bit from the marketing aspect.
Sure.
So Julio is a trust-based app and identity, as well as it is very confidential over there, right? So does it create a hindrance while you have to provide with testimonials, as well as where you have to do a promotion? So does it create a hindrance that you are not able to show exact identity and the people?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. In fact, you're right. I think the utmost thing of importance for us is safety, privacy, trust of our members. So it was very interesting when we reached out to people who had started relationships, right, and asked them if they would be comfortable allowing us to let them use them in our have their quotes in our testimonials. There were some people who were cool with it, but as you can imagine, there were a bunch of people who didn't want their photo, etc., to be out there. Then we had an idea. We said, what? Let's ask them if they're maybe not okay with their photo. Are they okay with their Ghibli art caricature? And what was interesting was, they were totally cool with that, right? So, huge thanks to ChatGPT and Ghibli art, and and in our testimonials we don't use names, right? We refer, we sort of explain to people the backgrounds of these folks so that others who are maybe not Julio members can see that there are people with similar backgrounds as theirs who have found success, and get a sense of the type of community we've built. But even in our testimonials we don't use names, we've used Ghibli art.
That's great, sir. Now talking more into that, I've seen Mithila is a brand ambassador, right? And I saw the ad, it was really bang on. So what was the initiation to cast Mithila as a brand ambassador?
Yeah. So when we, I think what we realized is very early on, right? This is a game of trust. We're a new brand.
Yes.
People don't know us. As noble as our intent is, there are so many scammy apps, unfortunately, in this space. So we realized, we would do well if there is someone a bunch of people relate to, B, trust, and C, who is single herself or himself, and who has gone through the pain of the problem that we are trying to solve, and can hence, sort of connect and endorse and evangelize Julio in a most meaningful, authentic way. And and that's how we found Mithila.
That's great to hear.
Really nice, sir. So, sir, the major portion of any startup is the core team, right? So let's come to the team part. I'll read what you have mentioned somewhere. You have mentioned ki meritocracy with cognitive diversity building a culture of sports team with a heart. Like, I love that phrase a lot, but it implies high performance and a deep care, right? So how do you actually put that into practice, especially in the high pressure environment?
Yeah. So actually, I'll credit that term to Harsha Majeti at Swiggy. Right, he shared with me that that is the aspiration they have for the culture they are building at Swiggy. And I think it really resonated with me, because I think you're right. I think 80% of startups fail, 20% succeed. So, to be in that 20%, you have to be, a high performing, fast moving, tight ship, efficiently run, business. And However, I think, what is really, really important, and again, right, it's not an or. Many people think it's an or, but it's actually an and. You can do that while, respecting individuals and having empathy for them, right? Companies like Google have, been built that way. There are several, successful examples of companies that do this, and unfortunately, it's a bit of a not everyone in the Indian startup ecosystem realizes this and understands this. And I think it's again, right, it's making time for respect, making time for empathy requires time, right? It makes you slightly less efficient maybe in the short term, but in the medium and long term, right, the benefits of people value you, people value the company, and I think it's essential to build a culture that endures and that outlasts you. So yeah, that's why I think we're a sports team, but we're a sports team where we try our best to respect all our teammates and take care of them. We're not perfect. I'm sure there are times where we could do better, but that's our North Star, and we want to be as close to it as possible.
Varun, seems you got a really good team to lead.
Yes, again, super grateful, right? As they say, if you want to, go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, you need a crew. So right. Very grateful to have that total top-notch crew. I think one of the aspirations is to build a Silicon Valley caliber team in India. I've worked with tons of people in the Valley, and I know the talent here is as good, right? And we can build global tech companies, consumer companies, AI companies from east to west. The typical motion has been west to east, barring a few players like TikTok or Shine, Temu, who've maybe defied the odds. But we feel the time to do that is now, with technology democratized in many ways.
Varun, I would like to zoom out your life a little bit. Let's hear some stories from your early days working as an employee, and before that going to Wharton or IIT Delhi, and then leading a startup, like a really good startup that is actually solving some good problem on the ground.
Yeah, so my story. So I think, very, again, privileged, fortunate to have attended some great institutions with great people. As they say, you are, the average of the people you are surrounded by. So, I think wherever I have gone, I have tremendously learned, benefited from the people around me. I think IIT was just about making deep friends for life, right? Friends who you can call anytime you're down, friends, who you may not have met for years, but, when you see them, it's like, you're just taking off from where you last left it, like nothing has changed. So I think that's the biggest thing IIT gave me. Very grateful to McKinsey, which was my first job out of campus. I think McKinsey was business school for me. It gave me the confidence that going first principles, I could solve any business problem. It taught me to what was called wearing the CEO hat, to think like a CEO. In the startup world, it's now called founder mindset. Yeah. So I think in many ways, all my professional values, operating style is dedicated to McKinsey, and I wouldn't have been Julio wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for what I got there. Google for me has been leadership school. And I think, I have learned the value of empathy, leading with care. I think Google made me not just a better professional. I think it made me a better human being, and for that I am, will always be grateful. I have, also had the privilege of, working closely with founders like Dipinder and Albinder at Zomato, Blinkit, Naveen Tiwari at InMobi, and again, just, learned how to be a startup founder. Try to imbibe all of their best qualities, so just very fortunate that I had a great set of people around me. I could learn from Wharton, by the way. Wharton was about just, I think, opening my eyes to cultural diversity, and making one realize that as different as people are, human behavior is exactly the same. Anywhere in the world, we're all sort of human, and you connect at a human level beyond any sort of artificial construct, the boundaries that countries etc. create. So
Varun, talking about the trend that is going on in the market, you came from McKinsey, right? You talked about McKinsey being a business school for you. You talked about Dipinder. He runs Zomato. He is also from a corporate giant, big corporate giant. So the corporate giants are producing a really good founders. So what's your take on this? Like, do they get better leverage than a person working in a tier 2 or tier 3 company, or coming from a tier 2 college?
Yeah. So I think my take is there is never one path or journey to success. Everyone's journey is unique, and the journey you've had uniquely places you to do something that only you can and others can't. So I think the part of being a successful founder, what investors call founder market fit, is about really finding a problem that you're meant to solve, and that your unique experiences enable you to do that. So I think it's really about self-awareness, understanding who you are, what you bring to the table, what you don't bring to the table, and how you build a team that's better than you to bring those things to the table, and then bring it all together and build something that solves real problems, that create real value, and benefit people and society at large.
That's great to hear, sir. Now talking more into the future aspect. So how does future success looks for Julio?
Yes. So I think as Jeff Bezos used to say at Amazon, it's very much day one. I think we've barely scratched the surface of what we can build, the impact we can have, the lives we can touch. We're just getting started. And I think where, if I were to zoom X years out, I think where we'd want to be, we'd want to be for love what Google is for search, what Netflix is for entertainment. When you're searching for information, you know where to go. When you're searching for entertainment, you know where to go. We'd want to be that household brand when you're searching for love. Julio sort of is the default, not just for people looking for love in India, but people looking for love anywhere in the world. So that's where we would want to be.
Sir, X year from now, how are you going to judge Julio? Like, from my point of view, are you going to use the metric as user number? Like, how many users have registered in Julio? Are you going to judge on that basis, or will you having some other sort of metric?
Yeah, so I think there are tons, there are tons of metrics, right? We track and analyze on daily, weekly, monthly, but at the end of the day, I think it'll come down to happy users, right? And there are multiple metrics to track that, but really I think if we have happy users, then everything else sort of will be an outcome of that, whether it's revenue, whether it's valuation. So I think really the sole focus now, and I don't expect that to change at scale, is just be really, really focused on understanding what users need, and how well or not we are solving it, and quickly keep sort of course correcting where needed to get to where they want us to be.
Sir, I am really interested into data science and AI background, so I'm really curious to ask you about this thing, how AI or metaverse will change the Julio, Like how will that new upcoming technology is gonna change the dating culture?
Yeah. So look, I think AI, we're building AI first, right? So AI is already here. AI is used for segmentation, for matching, for relationship coaching, for safety, security. There are tons of applications of AI. Some we have already incorporated in our product. Many other interesting ones on the roadmap. So I think AI essentially will just help give people better outcomes, right? Make the system safer, more efficient. More helpful. AR, VR or metaverse, I think is more futuristic. Honestly, I don't know how that will evolve. I think there are many experiments with virtual reality for dating, etc. Right, or just meeting anyone, right? But I think right now the cost of hardware is too expensive for it to be mainstream. So perhaps if VR hardware becomes mainstream at some point, it would make sense for us to follow that wave and jump in there.
So you talk about AI first for the Julio, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really curious to know how are you gonna draw the line between AI matchmaking and physical matchmaking, because physical matchmaking is really important for the human interaction, right? Because using AI or using text messages to interact with a person creates a really misunderstanding between the persons. So how are you gonna draw that line, that thin line between those two terms?
So I think, look, I'll say what I said before. I think at Julio we are very clear. We are not an AI boyfriend or girlfriend, right? We are using AI to connect real people in the real world, right? And nudge them to meet in the real world. So I think we are very, our mission, our objective there is very clear. Also, I think you mentioned human matchmakers, and look, this is a massive space, right? This is a problem everyone has in their life at some point. So I think we see this as a massive market. There'll be some people who prefer the touch of a human matchmaker, right? And there'll be others who maybe actually want the comfort of digital for multiple reasons, and there'll be some people who would be happy with a mix of both, and so that's how we don't see a binary world where it'll be either or.
Varun, before we let you go, I want to ask you a question which is really important to us. We ask all the speakers who come to our podcast at the podcast series The Business Lens. So the question is, एक एडवाइस जो कि आप अपकमिंग एंटरप्रेन्योर्स स्टूडेंट्स को देना चाहोगे रिलेटेड टू देयर स्टार्टअप जर्नी और रिलेटेड टू देयर सीड फंडिंग राउंड?
Sure. I think if there's one advice, I think I would say that try to align yourself best to the problem you are meant to solve. Eventually, that's what will sort of give you success, will help you raise capital, and will give you most purpose and fulfillment. So I think invest a lot of time in figuring out what is it that you are best placed to solve.
Right. And one advice towards their curriculum or study goals?
Study goals. Wow, it's been a while since I studied myself. I think just quoting the timeless advice of the Bhagavad Gita, which a lot of us have grown up listening to, कर्म करो फल की चिंता मत करो. I think एक चीज़ जो मुझे भी रियलाइज़ हुई है और 40 साल की उम्र में रियलाइज़ हुई है, आई विश 20 साल में होती, बट ये है कि we over attribute both our successes and our failures to ourselves. The truth is that there are so many external factors, right? There are so many things that are happening in the universe that all sort of serendipitously align, for anything to happen, to make us succeed, to make us fail. And which is why the timeless wisdom of the Gita basically gives this advice that, you control the inputs, right? You be true to yourself, you do, give your 100%, to the inputs, and trust, whether you call it God, whether you call the universe, divine, whatever you want to call it, or trust, leave the output, leave the success to to the larger universe and power.
Well,
So-
definitely you don't look like 40. Annie?
Well, if my hair hadn't grayed, maybe not. But
So what are your
thanks for the
secrets?
fake compliment.
All right. So let's conclude this podcast. What a truly insightful session it was. So we started this conversation discussing the noise and fatigue of digital dating apps, and we are ending it with a clear blueprint and engineering for trust with Julio.
Exactly, sir. So your journey has been a strategic thinking masterclass, and you took a problem that was already very much crowded, and you did not think, how can I compete? You think, how can I make it better?
To all our listeners and students, especially the future founders and leaders, let's sink in. Look at the system you use every day that feels broken or superficial. Varun Sir's journey teaches us that the biggest market opportunities often lie not in adding more complexity, but in restoring a fundamental human value. In his case, that is trust.
A huge thank you, sir, for giving us time, and it was a very insightful session that we had.
Thank you. Firstly, a big thank you to you, Saurabh and Annie, for hosting this, and a big thanks to all the team that's working behind the camera. It's been a pleasure to come to the Department of Business Economics at South Campus DU and meet the two MBA classes that are currently over here, and very inspired to see learn from you, and I think the energy of everyone I met has been like super infectious. So very glad and fortunate to have come here and done this with you all. And for our viewers, if you're single, what we said resonated with you, if you've been worried about trying an online channel because of safety reasons, or you have tried one and just got fatigued and burnt out, do give Julio, the Trusted Singles Club, a try. You can download our app and apply for club membership. Thank you.
This has been the Business Lens podcast series of ECEL, Department of Business Economics of Delhi University. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on our social media handles, Instagram, LinkedIn, ECEL_DBE.
Until then, find a gap and build a bridge.
This is the Business Lens, next unicorns out the den. It's time for you to pick the pen, inspire an entire gen. It's never too late for you to start or to stand apart. Believe in self when no one does. Revive yourself when nothing works, just one step away from the next revolution. Welcome to DBE, Sell for entrepreneurs who have a story to tell or a business to sell. We welcome all great mind businesses of all kind with extraordinary grinds. Let's see what unwinds at the Business Lens. We are the Business Lens. Welcome to the Business Lens. This is the Business Lens.